Hello, Pisces, and welcome to your January 2018 General Tarot Forecast. It feels so strange to be coming to you here in 2018. I can't believe 2017 is over, but it is, and the energies are changing so much, especially starting in about March. We really jump into a majorly new type of energetic expression and experience, and I can tell that your energy is catching on to it. I can tell that the Pisces energy is very much realizing how much things are about to change and how many endings may be taking place here and now. January and even February for Pisces really feels to me like letting go, yes, but also celebrating endings and realizing what can't go on and not even needing necessarily to have old, worn out rituals or expressions of endings. It feels like you're gaining a new relationship to closure right now. And it feels like you're no longer trying to fool yourself about what closure is or what it means to experience finality or endings in life, which is beautiful. I feel like we all have a lot to learn from you in that sense. And I think it's interesting to see how Jupiter and Scorpio might be influencing that for you. I think that everyone is really coming into contact with how endings occur and how we express that as people, and really kind of getting caught up in almost like a neurotic version of that too. And it's really hard for people to let go. And I know that last month in December, a lot of your theme dealt with learning how to let go and learning how to release and accept and also generate new experiences off of that. I think that the words like release and acceptance in the spiritual community can sometimes be a little bit of kind of a hard thing to work with, because it kind of sounds like you're disempowering yourself, or it kind of sounds like you might be being passive in kind of a negative way when you're maybe accepting that someone just gave you a bad situation and you're not worried about anyone getting consequences, or you're not worried about anyone owning up to anything, but you're just going to accept it. And in term, like, people don't have to deal with the repercussions of their actions, or people just can, get away with murder, basically. I think that there's an association in the spiritual community with acceptance and release sort of equating to allowing people to get away with murder, or allowing people to just be mean with no repercussion. So you Pisces are kind of seeing through that. You're kind of coming out on the other side and realizing, okay, I've let go, I've released, I've accepted the way that things are in my life, and now I'm realizing that it's not about repercussions, it's not about consequences, but it's about the generation and creation of a completely new circumstance and experience. So it's been amazing just to suddenly learn that myself through your energy this month in January, Pisces. So I'm really excited to move forward in this reading and see more of what we're getting. So really huge evolution happening for you, and also rebirth as well. You're one of the only signs this month to have Judgment, although that archetype is very prevalent right now. I believe that someone else had it too. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But the whole concept of rebirth and evolution are, of course, strong right now with Jupiter and Scorpio, but it's reversed, and for a lot of people it feels very reversed to me. I think that we've kind of gained a skewed idea of what that concept is, and sort of a glamorization as well of that concept, where maybe we're associating our evolution and physical rebirth with physical appearances, or changes in locations or scenarios, when in reality it can be something much deeper, and that isn't always reflected in the exterior world so strongly. So lots of kind of deep things and kind of abstract things coming forward for you, as I feel like you're really turning your back on something, or dealing with someone having turned their back on you, and through that you're going through this evolution. Through that, you're seeing maybe how much you constructed the situation as well. Maybe some of you are feeling stabbed in the back or betrayed. You have the Ten of Swords in the reverse, though, as your central theme, which I think is very interesting, again, considering how much letting go and accepting were themes last month, and then it's here, Ten of Swords is here now, and you just have to sort of actually do it now, or sort of pick up the pieces of that experience for you. A lot of you have been through a breakup, or a lot of you have been through loss, losing something, or what feels like disconnecting or separating something. And ultimately it gives you so much, although a lot of your life feels very reversed right now. A lot of these cards are reversed. You feel very much like you're functioning from a different place, which is important, and you will get so much through that. There's so many things and just experiences coming in for Pisces that it's like it might be hard to accept that you're getting this much. It might be hard to accept how much money you make in 2018. It might be hard to accept how many people magnetize to you, but you definitely need to come into a place where you're like adapting to that, and where you're like, okay, I accept the abundance, versus like, well, I don't really need any of that. I just want this one person who's like bad for me. Watch out for like, I want to say like a bargaining or negotiating with the universe in that way. It's like, well, I don't need this extra income per year. I would much rather have this love from the past than have all of these new opportunities come in, because these opportunities don't fulfill me. Watch out, because it seems like even if opportunities that you might have aren't fulfilling you, they really lead to something that does. And by you accepting them, even though they might not really be working in your direct favor right now, it really kind of reorients the path that you need to be on. And to get into the week to week, based on what I'm saying, in the first week of January, you guys have 6 of Swords reversed, you're down by 7 of Cups. So some nice chronological order there, the 6 and the 7. So definitely like finishing the transition. Like, and obviously 2017 for a lot of you has been like the transition. It's been like the bridge year for everyone. So much mutable energy coming in, and what I feel is like it needs to finish. Like, you need to come to the other side of the bridge and establish this new energetic location and work in it and start maybe constructing a new bridge. But focusing too much on transition could actually be not wonderful for you right now, because you've been doing it for so long. You've been doing that whole archetype for a long time. In fact, Pisces is kind of course, the concept of that in the first place. You know, it's the ultimate transition, because Pisces rules death and the end, all endings. So to be bright and positive for you guys. But you also rule rebirth, because without endings there cannot really be new beginnings. So first week, 6 of Swords, that can also just be moving, you know, maybe you've moved into the place by now, and also like not letting yourself have unrealistic expectations of where you're going in life, even if it's not about locations. Maybe it's about like a job or a relationship. Don't build up new experiences to be something that they can't be. It sort of feels like the grass is greener on the other side. Like, maybe you're thinking, okay, I'm about to go into this new job, or I'm about to go into this new relationship, and all of these other problems are also going to end once I leave where I currently am. You have to reap a lot of power from your current location right now in January and carry that with you into the next space. There's not a lot of sudden alleviations happening right now, if that's what your goal is. It's like that's the weird thing about the Jupiter and Scorpio energy, is it does happen, but only through like maybe thinking the opposite. There's a lot of polarity and polarity magic kind of coming in. Second week, you guys have 3 of Cups rooted down by Ace of Cups reversed. Definite relationship energy coming in there. I feel like networking and meeting someone through work, it could even be. And also just not really feeling like you're matching up with a lot of people. Ace of Cups reversed deals with like people who at one point in time might have been like perfect for you, and like, wow, I would have really liked this type of person a long time ago, and I don't understand why I'm not liking this type of person. I should like this type of person. It feels like they're just like small things that make you not want to be in a relationship, or make you very concerned or discouraged, I want to say, about being in relationships. And even platonic relationships too. It's not even just romantic. It's like people just aren't quite calibrated. I was mentioning this in Gemini's reading last month. It's like there's like a Rubik's Cube, and it's like it's close, like you've almost got it, and you're just sort of waiting for it to like click perfectly into place, but it's just not quite happened yet. And you know that you're close, and you're sort of having this moment where you're like, okay, am I going to change it again and risk like decalibrating it more, or am I going to risk kind of like putting it into place? A lot of January does kind of feel like a risk, and you just really have to have trust, and trust that even if you're not clicking into place perfectly, that this path that is being generated, you know, creates in a roundabout way the actual calibration of the sort of proverbial spiritual Rubik's Cube. So that's really starting off in the second week there, and it feels like even if people aren't really doing you well right now, like it's good to still socialize, it's good to still be out, because it's not the best month, I feel, for the Pisces energy to be completely isolated or to be completely separated. Even like if you're not necessarily being social with people, like being out like at the store or amongst other people is important right now. A lot of Pisces just don't have a lot of friends or a lot of strong spiritual connections right now. Maybe you have old friends or platonic relationships that just don't really jive a lot with you. But the thing is like you have to be around people because you're giving something to the collective right now, and Pisces always does that. When you're in a group of people, and I've always sensed this with Taurus as well, there's something about those two signs. It's like when you're in a group of people, or like even if you don't talk to them or you don't even make eye contact, you give something to them and you change their experience by your presence being there. Scorpio is also kind of that way a little bit, but not quite as much as like Pisces and Taurus, not in the same way, because Pisces and Taurus aren't as obvious. Like Scorpio, like everyone knows when a Scorpio is in the building, but people aren't quite so aware of Pisces and Taurus, so they're not affected by that conscious realization, you know. Anyway, that's really deep. But you give a lot and cleanse a lot of karma within yourself by being amongst other people during January. And there's just so many cards that sort of represent like a sort of a neurosis or sort of like nervous breakdown type of energy that you're familiar with. You've been there, you've been there and broke that type of energy. And like I sense like a lot of like crying in bed, or a lot of like a nauseous feeling through eating really late at night, and like emotional eating, like just all kinds of like emotional sabotage that you might be doing to yourself if you're not amongst people and sort of healing in a symbiotic way with people. In the third week, you guys have 3 of Wands rooted down by 8 of Wands reversed. I actually really love the combination of those two energies, because it's like finally some fire energy. You have all this like water and air energy coming in, and finally you might be feeling passionate, or a business is starting up, or a new creative project is starting. Maybe some of you are like artists or painters or singers or songwriters or something, and that's a really nice burst of energy to commit to that type of endeavor for sure. But also I've started to have a new interpretation of 3 of Wands, which is feeling like people are turning their back on you. I see this card come up all the time when I'm working with like myself or other people regarding relationships, when you feel like people have turned their back on you, or when you feel like people are no longer holding space for you in their life. It's kind of almost like the Lucifer effect or something to me, 3 of Wands, especially when you add in some heavy cards like 10 of Swords, or 6 of Swords, 7 of Cups, and you guys have those, and even Judgment. Yeah, it's maybe a lot of you are having like a Lucifer type of effect, where you were like in heaven and you feel really pushed out, and you feel really just disconnected, and you feel like it's not your fault. And not to get into all of those sort of ancient biblical mythologies or anything, because it's not quite right, but it's sort of what my mind jumped to. It's like people don't acknowledge you, and people want to not acknowledge you because they realize how powerful you are, and it's like they think that by not acknowledging you that they're going to take away your power. And Scorpio has really been dealing with this too, and I think all the water signs, actually, the Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energies, have been dealing with this over 2017, and I might have to make like a specific video about it, because I've noticed this just in anybody with a lot of water. It's like everyone that you once held dear has very much retracted you, or even if they're still in your presence, you just feel like you're not getting them at their core value. It's like maybe you've become very successful and people are jealous. There's like an envious thing, or and a thought that through having known you very well and realizing how important close relationships are to you, that if they can sort of squander that, or they can kind of manipulate that, maybe they can take away your power a little bit by sort of stinging you in a delicate zone. So I am feeling that, and what you really have to do, Pisces, and what everyone has to do through this type of thing, is to use that pain that you're feeling by maybe people betraying you, or by people pushing you out and trying to take your power. You have to make that like your springboard, and you have to make that like what your art is about, or like really capitalize on it. And then once you come out the other side of it, people who have done this to you will realize, wow, it's because of that they became so successful. And that's not really a wonderful energetic thing, and not a wonderful thing actually to set up during Jupiter and Scorpio. But sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And if people are going to really turn their backs on you in this way, and still not really say it, it's like you kind of do what you have to do. It's like, it's one thing if people like make it clear, they're like, okay, I'm done, I want to cut this relationship tie for this reason, and it's like a sensical type of thing. That's one thing. But when people are like still trying to drain off your energy and sort of manipulate in this subtle way, I mean, you just have to do what you have to do for yourself. But you kind of be careful with those words too. Like, I feel like don't use this reading as a vindication for like murder or something. Hello, but energetically, not in a real way, entertainment purposes and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm feeling is that the best thing is to use betrayal and the lack and loss that you've experienced to catalyze wonderful changes and energetic vibrational shifts upward. And remember that being too vengeful will push you down. So how can you overcome this? How can you make this something that is potent energetically and spiritually for yourself? And kind of benefit everyone in the whole of society through doing it, and not in a vengeful way where you're out to hurt people, is what I'm really trying to say here. 4th week, you guys have Judgment reversed, rooted down by Page of Cups. So you come back to a very new version of yourself. Page of Cups, that's you, that's the young version of you. So for those of you who are feeling very like tired, very like old or withered, like you very much sort of burn out and start to rise from the ashes in the 4th week. I think that Judgment and Page of Cups together is a beautiful combination because you get definitely the Phoenix archetype there. With either Page of Cups or Page of Wands. So really allow yourself to rise from the ashes and leave the ashes behind is something that I like to say when I'm talking about that type of archetype. Sometimes when we burn out and we become ashes, we're like, oh my gosh, this is my past. This is who I once was. I want to take it with me. I want to take these ashes with me. But you can't. You know, the Phoenix cannot hold those ashes. You know, it doesn't really carry a suitcase. So, as gimmicky as that might sound, but you have to be able to leave the ashes behind. Which is hard. And that's why Judgment is reversed, because I think with Pisces tendency, and especially those of you with like a Cancer or Scorpio placement as well, with Pisces tendency to use the past as power and to sort of use it as a foresight, there can be this want to like take the ashes, you know, and to hold on to them. But you gain so much more power by leaving them behind, and you can really put that upright and catalyze a new kind of evolution that you've never had before by not taking them with you and allowing yourself to like ritualize yourself out of the space in which they're left behind. So I see a lot of Pisces moving and a lot of Pisces leaving behind just this old outworn experience and really becoming very strong through it and seeing. And I love Ten of Swords reversed more so than I like it upright. In this type of scenario, it can really go either way, but I feel like you're not going to be the victim. I feel like you're not going to be taken down by the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords upright can just be like a surrender or even like a failure, or again, it's just like a forced release, you know? And when it's reversed, oftentimes it can be like, okay, it's happened, I accept it. And there's like a gravity, you know, it's like the swords can fall back out and you can kind of get up and come back to life. So in that way, in this reading and in other readings, I might say differently, but in this reading, it feels like Ten of Swords reversed is a good sign that you're going to see through how you've been stabbed in the back and you're not going to take it with you in a negative way. So anyway, I really hope this reading has been wonderful for you guys. It was very powerful for me too, and I feel like I've learned a lot from it. So I really appreciate the Pisces Collective Conscious for allowing me to learn these lessons. If you guys would like to book a private reading with me, that link should be in the center of your screen or somewhere on the screen. Also check the description box to follow me on different social media if you would like to, and to see other appropriate links. I will be very much looking forward to speaking to you in February. Much love. Bye.